I've cut ties with my family for a very long time now, and I don't regret it. And so I'll tell you why. But before I tell you why, it's good to know how I kind of grew up and what I've seen and my perception of whatever it is I've seen. And I think that's the beautiful thing about life, and it's that every human has his or her own uniquely shaped lens in which they see the world. That's what makes the human experience so unique. If we all saw everything the same way and perceived it to be the same thing, there would be no ideas, there would be no growth, there would be nothing different. We're all the same. The fact that we see things differently is what makes everyone so uniquely special. And so I will tell you exactly, a little bit about how I grew up and how I perceived everything that I saw when I grew up, and that's just how I see it. When I was younger, I had my mother and my father. At the age of 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, I forget when, childhood is a little blurry, my parents split and my father ended up getting sick. I think he was diagnosed with lymphoma, which is a type of cancer. And so I was basically raised by a single mother for a large majority of my life. The time that my father was around, it's not like I saw anything that was honorable. I didn't see anything that was respectable. It wasn't anything good. Not to throw shade on my father or throw dirt on his name, but the truth is, he didn't do enough. And I get it, life is tough sometimes. You're imperfect, and maybe you couldn't be enough. And I get it, because I've been there. There are times where I just couldn't be enough. So I understand. I say this all the time. I have forgiven my father for anything he's done, anything he said. And I choose to honor his last name by becoming nothing like him. That's how I choose to honor him. I will honor my father. I will live to honor my father's last name, this name given to me. And I will do that in one way, which is being nothing like him. So, throughout those, I guess you could say, years, it was a little bit challenging because I couldn't stay home. My mother was at work, and so I had to live with my cousins. And mind you, my family is very welcoming. Right? During those times, it's nothing but love, very welcoming. But I just didn't like the fact that at these family gatherings, everyone kind of knew what was happening internally. Not within me, but inside the family. It's like, oh, everyone knew that Thompson's mother and father split and Thompson's dad is this and this and this. And it was just a mess, right? Aunts and uncles would slide me some money like, hey, how you doing? Give me a hug, and just slide like 20, 50, 100 bucks in my pocket. And you would think like, wow, that's magnificent, man. You should be grateful. Dude, I'm 11 years old. I don't know what to do with that money. I just gave it all to my single mother who was working her butt off and could barely scrap a living to take care of me and hold down the house. I didn't do jack with that money. I just said, I got it. And I just said, here, Mom. She's like, where's this from? I was like, I don't know. They gave it to me. And I just go in my room and I just freaking play video games. And what had happened was I really started to dislike the fact that I was the only one that was getting this special snowflake princess treatment. I didn't enjoy it. Like, hand money to the other cousins. Like, don't hand money to me. And if you're gonna hand money to me, just hand it directly to my mother, not me. That's how I saw it, which is a very shallow and narrow way of seeing the situation because they were just trying to help. And I understand that, right? So for a large majority of my life, I grew up with this victim mentality. Oh my gosh, my life is in shambles because of my father, because he was not this, because of my mother, because she could not do this. But I had this victim mentality. It was disgusting, which is why if you ever hear parts of my message, I really talk a lot of shit on victims. And it's because I've been one and it did nothing for me. And all I wanted to do was just blame my circumstances, blame X, Y, and Z for why I was the way I was, which gave zero power to me, nor did it help me change and progressively grow in any way, shape, or form. All it did was make me bitter, it just made me cold, and it just made me very angry all the time. So honestly, it really didn't do much for me. So I disliked the whole idea of being a victim. Oh my gosh, yes, your life is screwed up, yes, and it is because of X, Y, and Z. Sure, it was because of your lack of resources. Yes, it was because of your father. Maybe it was because of your mother. Maybe it was because your uncle did this to you. Maybe it was. Who cares? You act like saying all these things give you any power. It just makes you even more emotional, makes you even more angry because you're pointing your finger at them. Like, this is where all the power goes to. It's a framework I got from Alex Hormozy. This is called the blame finger. Wherever it points is where all the power goes to. You blame that person has power. So that means if your life is screwed up because of X, Y, and Z, and that's the problem, that means you can do nothing to change. And when you accept that, or when you kind of soak that in, it's like, wow, well, what if I say it's not their fault and it's my fault? Well, now you've redirected the blame to you, and now you can take control despite what has happened to you, and you can change, right? And I think that's very powerful. But for the most part, I grew up with this victimhood mentality. And I guess my overwhelming insecurity I had as a youth, in addition to the lack of resources and the quote, I'll put quotes on it, trauma. I hate the word because it's a word that victims use, but I'll say trauma for lack of a better word, or just experiences or things I saw. All those things I felt hindered me. And so throughout the course of my teenage years, especially in high school, what happened was I went from this kid that was doing phenomenal, and he was getting good grades, and he was very obedient. He just wanted to make his mother proud, to being this kid that just became rebellious and fell into drugs and alcohol. And for the most part, it was because despite my mother and father splitting, my father wasn't the type of man that could take care of himself. He was very reliant on my mother bringing home money and keeping a roof over his head, which to this day I dislike. I really do. But he stuck around for a while. But they would just sleep in different rooms, and strangely enough, they would still argue like, you guys are divorced, and I still hear his voice just raised. And it was very annoying. And around this time, I'm 15, 16 years old, and so I gave up on schoolwork. I gave up entirely, right? It went from go to school, do as much as I can, to go to school, fall asleep in class, get out of class, wait till lunch, eat the lunch, go to the baseball field, jump the fence, walk home, smoke, and drink, and go to sleep. And the reason I did that is because if I smoked and drank, that means I would have been able to sleep without interruptions. It was almost every night. It was so repetitive. It was annoying to where I could hear the pitch of my father's voice, and I could be like, oh, okay, he's about to say something. Or, oh, okay, he's about to scream. I can dictate how a night was gonna go by the sound of my father's voice. If it raised to a certain pitch, I'm like, there's gonna be an argument. But if it stayed kind of mellow like this, I was like, it's gonna be a good night, and it always was. Like, that's how familiar I got. That's how accustomed I got to a household that was so loud and just so annoying, and it was just something that I just could not bear with. Right? I remember as a kid, I'll never forget this scene in my head. Not that I'm traumatized by it, but it's very impactful. It's very powerful. I was a child. I'm very young at the time. I believe I'm like maybe 8 or 9. I don't remember. I just know I'm young. And I'm trying to sleep. School's the next day. I'm trying to sleep. I'm in my room on the mattress just trying to sleep. And my father and mother, they're screaming, and things are breaking, and he's kind of hitting her, and he's doing all these things. And he walks over to the room screaming, like at the top of his lungs. He's like, look at you. Look at Thompson. Look what you're doing to Thompson. Like, I remember that. And I look back now, and I'm like, how delusional. Like, look at what you're doing to Thompson? And he's blaming my mother. Like, you're the one that's breaking stuff and screaming at the top of your lungs because you have little to no control over your emotions. Like, I look back now, and I'm just like, wow, that was my father, wasn't it? Huh. Well, I'll be damned, right? And I remember at the time, the only thing that kind of got me through that was I called my brother, who at the time had his own life, man. He's like mid-30s at the time. He's in school. And I'm calling him late at night. It's like 9, 10 o'clock. He picks up for me. And I'm just like, hey, man, I'm scared. Dad's kind of screaming. Yes, I have a brother. I have brothers, so my father had 2 wives. I didn't grow up with him, but he's my brother. I just call him. I say, hey, man, I'm scared. Dad's kind of just screaming and breaking everything, and I don't know what to do. Can you just stay on the phone with me? I can't really sleep. He's like, yeah, I got you. And he heard the whole thing, you know. He was there for me during the darkest moments, which is why if there's someone that I do value that's family, it'd be my brother. But even then, I'll kind of get into that and my thoughts on that as I get further into this video. With that being said, in high school, I gave up. I wanted to try to escape the noise that was constantly happening at home. Home was not home. It was a place of chaos, and it was very annoying. And I gave up completely in my studies. So smoking and drinking, because at least that way I can fall asleep and I can sleep seamlessly through the whole night. Because I'm so under the influence that not even my father's screaming would wake me because I'm so high, I'm so drunk, whatever. And I'd wake up half dead, go to school, do it again. Because I knew that that night they'd be screaming. So I'd do it again and do it again, do it again, do it again. So at 18, obviously doing that for 3, 4 years, you don't really get too far, right? So at 18, while everyone's graduating, while everyone's planning their future, applying for financial aid, applying to these colleges, and doing all these things, what I did was I was sleeping in all my classes because I'd be high or drunk. And so graduation comes. Lo and behold, I didn't walk with my class, not a big deal, and I had no idea what to do. I sat down with, at the time, a close friend of mine, and he was like, well, what are you going to do with your life? I said, I don't really know, man. He's like, have you thought about the military? And we were deep. We were thinking deep, you know. Like, this is my best friend. We're right outside my house, and we're just talking about what's the plan after this, man. Like, what are we going to do? At the time, he wanted to become a professional boxer. He was working towards it. At the time, I was just this lost kid who had no idea what to do and had no guidance, and I literally did not know anything. All I knew was, I don't know. He says, well, have you thought about the military? I said, military? Heck no. Military? Are you kidding me? Me in the military? No. Went inside that same night, and I said, military. Started Googling. I knew someone that was in the Marines, so I reached out to him. I said, hey, well, can you tell me a little bit about it? Knew someone in the Navy. I was like, hey, can you tell me a little bit about it? And just like that, I jumped in with both feet, full throttle, no questions asked, because I wasn't going to put my mother through thousands and thousands of dollars of student debt. I refused to do that. I refused to. And it's not like I was against going to school. Dude, we didn't have the money. And I didn't know how to apply for financial aid, and I didn't want my mother to figure that out because, like, dude, that was supposed to be my job. But I didn't because I was smoking and I was drinking. And shoot, it's too late now. I'm not going to put her through thousands and thousands of dollars of student debt just to get me to do something that I don't even know if I want to do. So I just jumped in head first, military. Everyone's like, are you sure? I was like, probably not, but I don't care. I'm making the decision. And so at 18, I joined the military, joined the Army, signed a 4.5-year contract. So in the military, I've had a very difficult time because I didn't know how to be a man, because it's not like I had the greatest example growing up, right? Not to blame my father, but no, truly, like, I did not have the greatest example. There were not any masculine role models around me that I can look to and be like, oh, well, I want to be similar to you. And so it was very difficult for me to find my footing. So everyone that I met in the Army, even if they were just 1 year older than me, I would look at them as though they were like my bigger brother, or men that were like 30. I'd be like, wow. I would look at you like you're my father figure, because I needed that at the time. I needed some guidance. I needed a man to come and really teach me how to behave like one, how to speak like one, how to walk like one, how to think like one, how to act like one. I didn't know. I was just a childish little boy. You know, fast forward across the military, I had bigger dreams and aspirations. I really did. I wanted more for my life, and it just wasn't enough. It wasn't enough, and I remember I hopped on a phone call with my mother, my father, my brother, and I said, I really want to get out. And the response I got was just, it pissed me off. It pissed me off more than you could possibly imagine. Like, you have no idea. What happened was, I told my mother and I told my father and my brother, I was like, hey, I think I want to get out the military, man. Like, I think I'm done. And they said, well, what are you going to do? And I said, I don't know, but I dream bigger for my life, and this isn't it. And it was just fear. From my mother, fear. From my father, fear. From my brother, fear. No, maybe you should stick it through all the way. No, maybe you should do this, maybe you should do this. And it could be a few reasons. It could be one, a scarcity mindset. Two, them truly looking out for my best interest. But I believe that if you're looking out for someone's best interest, you encourage them to reach for that dream they have and turn into reality, not create a safety net that they can fall on. Who cares if they fall? If there's no safety net, they will get up, and eventually they'll just become better because of that. And so it was almost like a combination of lack of belief in me and also maybe a reflection of themselves, because they need security. They want a safety net. They want stability. And I was ready to throw everything, gamble everything away just for a better life somewhere else. And it really broke my heart, man, because when I wanted to leave the military, I was hoping I was going to get inspiring words from those three people that I still cherished. And I didn't. I didn't get encouraging words, and I needed that at the time because, truth be told, there was a part of me that questioned, like, should I thug this out all the way? Should I perhaps just do it? And, well, I did it. I mean, duh. I got out, and I just needed someone to believe in me because I felt as though in those times I didn't even believe in myself all the way. So I get kicked out. And despite no one really believing in me, I do it. Now, to a degree, there was one person that believed in me. And it was, at the time, my best friend. And it's because he dreamed big for his life, too. I mean, at 18, he went and started his own business, and now he's highly successful. I remember when I told him all this, and I was like, bro, I want to get out. I want to do something big with my life. I remember his words. He's like, bro, you can do it. Like, trust me. Like, it's there. It's so easy. You got this. And my brother, my mother, and my father did not say that. And this is where I get into the reason why I kind of part ties with my family, and I cut ties with them, and I parted my ways. They all had a scarcity mindset. They all needed financial security and stability and safety. And that's all predicated on fear. It's not predicated on anything else. The need for something like that is the acknowledgement that there's a possibility that things could go wrong, and so it's fear of things going wrong. If you acknowledge the possibility of things going wrong, but you are not fearful, then there is no need to devise countermeasures, nor is there a need to have a safety net, because you don't fear the outcome. You actually just know it's a possibility. So I get kicked out, right? And this is a big humbling moment for me, and I tell the story all the time. And I kind of continue to tell it in hopes that someone new listens to it, and hopefully it inspires them. So I get kicked out, and I have dreams and aspirations. Next thing you know, guess where I end up? I'm door dashing, delivering food to scrap a living, and it's like full day of driving. And after gas, dude, I made like $40 driving all day. I'm talking like 8, 9, 10 hours. So that wasn't enough. So what I did was I got a job at a commercial gym, Crunch Fitness, as a janitor. I just needed some money, and I was okay scrubbing toilets because in the military, hey, I scrubbed a lot of toilets, and I swept a lot of floors, and I mopped a lot of floors, and I did a lot of dirty work. And so I said, well, if I could do that then, I could definitely do it now. So I worked at a commercial gym, scrubbing toilets, picking up bloody tampons, doing all that stuff. And I guess one day, I'm cleaning up the windows, and one of our sales representative were outside. They were kind of trying to sell a membership, and I spoke to them. I said, you're not doing it right. Just mocking them. They said, well, you do it. And I said, okay, well, if I do it, I'm hungry. Get me a chicken sandwich. And I guess I ended up being able to do it. It didn't turn out so bad. It was okay, you know. So my manager, he saw me, and he was like, hey, do you think you can do that again tomorrow? I said, maybe. He was like, okay, tomorrow, just meet me here in the front. So he began to train me, and I asked a lot of questions, and I started learning how to sell. And so what I did was I started becoming like a janitor / salesperson, right? Jack of all trades. I learned how to sell enough and gain enough knowledge to where I called my best friend who had the company at the time, and I said, hey, do you have the means to hire me full time? He's like, yeah, I don't want to though. Why? And I was like, well, what if I bring money in and the money I bring in pays me and helps you profit? He's like, I'm listening. I said, well, meet me at the warehouse tomorrow. I'll be there. So I come and I tell them, I was like, hey, I learned a lot from sales here at the gym. I really want to take this and see if I can help you scale your company. I think I got a good feeling about this, man. Let's do it. I'll learn the industry quick. I'll learn the ins out. I'll learn the ins and outs very, very quickly. Trust me, I'm a quick learner. And then I'll capitalize on what I do best, sales. And that is where I started kind of trying to grow the company with him. So one of the main things I did was sell. We private label to own products. It was a e-commerce based business model. So B2C and B2B. And so at the time, we were relying strictly on B2C. So nail technicians, the consumer, visiting our website and purchasing the product. He told me, I want to get these products into the shelves of nail supply stores, right? So for example, let's say you launch a shampoo, you probably want to get into the shelves of Walmart, right? Walmart has a lot of traffic. It's your real estate, so that more people see your product, and so the likelihood of them wanting to buy your product significantly increases. And if not, you get more eyeballs to your product. So that's the same thing that we wanted to do. We wanted eyeballs to the brand because nail technicians, they walk through the store. If they see the brand, they'll get the eyeballs are to the brand. They might ignore it, and then they might see it again. They might see it again. They're like, I'll try it. Boom. They might like it. They might go on the website. They might try more colors that's not available in stores, and so it wins. So we were focused on that. And so I developed a script and everything. And I sat down in an office every single day for a very long time. I started calling. This is literally what I did. I would search up nail supply store near me. I would zoom into every single state. I started at California, and Google will give me 9 pages of nail supply stores. I click each one, call with my script, pitch my script, make sure to get the email, send the email, go on their Instagram, send the cold DM, follow up with them, do it multiple times. And I did that so many times, and it worked. And if the stores were local, within like a 25, 30-mile radius, I would drive to them in our little Brother Cosmetics polo t-shirts that we got engraved at like this local store. And I would come in a polo shirt. I would bring the products and I would pitch them. And I'm like this. I'm this 21-year-old trying to negotiate with millionaires. Like the balls I had. Can you believe that? So I did all that, and I ended up selling really high ticket deals. Right? I sold anywhere from $2,000 to $50,000 ticket deals, which was magnificent for our level. And so it was working. And eventually we just kind of converted that, and we took it over to selling by means of live broadcast, because he did a good job at building the social media platform on TikTok to like 1.8 million followers. And he got the verification badge. And so I would pop on live, and so this is a strange phenomenon to look at right here, an Asian man with tattoos with a voice like this. And so I garnered attention, and so quickly we made the decision and just, hey, let's make you the face of the company, man. Screw it. Everyone likes you. Everyone knows you. Your face and your voice and your aesthetic fits. Boom, we're locking in. And so that's what happened after. From there, I end up just parting ways. And now I've taken all the lessons and everything I've learned from being with a private label e-commerce business model that was directly B2C and B2B. And now I'm a part of a barbershop. I wouldn't necessarily call it a joint venture, because the proposal was my barber came to me asking me for a website. Now, well, a while back, and I told him, I was like, cool, I'll make you the website. I was going to do it for free. And then, we started talking about the shop and the vision. I said, wow, how are you going to grow it? And I asked him a lot of questions. And anyways, he was like, honestly, Rod, I haven't had enough time. And I said, I got a proposal for you, man. How about I just help you? Let me help you grow this shop. I bet you I can get it to be the #1 shop in the city within 6 months to 1 year. If I can deliver on this promise, I want a stake in the business. I am taking equity interest. I want a stake in the business later on if I can deliver results. If I cannot deliver results, consider everything I've done up to this point pro bono. I take all the risk. You get an extra set of hands, an extra brain to scale and experience tremendous growth. Down, done. So that's why I'm here now, right? So no, I'm not a barber. No, I'm not an owner. No, I don't work here. I am. I guess you can call it an unofficial joint venture. I guess you can say. So all that to say, that's where I am now. But let's backtrack a little bit. When I got out the military, I was still not speaking to my family. I refused to be anything like them, and it's because I really hated the fact that none of them had the balls to do anything big. I hated the fact that they were all so mediocre. And when I say mediocre, I mean that as nice as I can, everyone's a special little snowflake, dandelion, rose petal. But everyone went to school, everyone got a degree, and started speaking about their highly paid corporate job where they have to be obedient to someone else. And I found that to be not impressive at all. And I guess you could say, well, maybe it's because I dream so big, right? Maybe to them that's impressive. Hey, they made their families proud, their mother and their fathers proud. Better than me. I was the mess up kid who had no direction and went to the army, got freaking blasted all over his body, got tattoos everywhere, came back and had no sense of direction for a few years until everything kind of just started falling into place because of pure brute force, right? So, hey, I guess my cousins ended up doing a lot better than me, but I took a risk that I guarantee you none of them would take. And to me, I take a little bit of pride in that because I was always the cousin that was compared to this other cousin. I was always the inferior one. I mean, I think every family does this, right? Where aunts and uncles compare cousins and make one feel inferior as a joke or as motivation, whatever it is. But hey, I'm a kid at the time. It affected me. What can I say? I had feelings. I was soft. Boo-hoo. Couldn't change it. And so I was very annoyed at the fact that I was constantly compared and belittled. And when I look back on it now, I laugh because I know that none of my cousins would have taken the same risk I would have taken. And honestly, it doesn't really matter. But one thing I do remember is that's the reason why I cut ties with them. But you know what? My father was in California. He would go from Vietnam to California. And one day he was in California. He was at grandparents' house, and and I said, okay, just to make you happy, I'll kind of go. I'll go, and I'll see the family that I haven't seen in years. So I went, and everyone was so surprised. They saw me for the first time since I left the military. It's been 3 to 4 years since they've seen me. They did not know who I was. The last version they saw me was the version of me at 18, and so I significantly changed. My voice, everything, my demeanor, everything changed. They didn't recognize me. And so when people say you've changed, it's because they don't know how to say you've grown, because they've seen so little growth in their life. They've been the same. They've been stagnant. Everyone around them has experienced stagnation. Everyone around them has stayed the same. And so that's why people say you've changed, because they're so unfamiliar with growth. They don't know how to differentiate the two. And they don't even know one exists. And so they rather say you've changed instead of you've grown. So I go to my grandparents' house, and what happened was my aunts and uncles are budging, like, hey, Thompson, you're out the military now. Well, what do you want to do? And, I understood the beauty of being private and just not letting people know what's going on, because not everyone wants the best for you. That's just the way it is. So I said, well, I don't really know. Something, I'll figure it out. And they kept budging. And I'm like, what do you want to do? I said, okay, let's try this. I said, I have no idea. I just know that by 24, I want to be highly successful, and I want to be able to be in a position to retire my mother within the next 2 years. And my aunt said something that struck a knife right into the depths of my heart. She said, no, impossible, not going to happen. I don't blame her. At the time, I blamed her, but I don't blame her. She's never seen that happen. How can she believe in something that she's never seen? But at the time, I was so angry. It pissed me off so much, possibly because during those times I was scrubbing toilets at a gym and door dashing and delivering food. And I hate the fact that she doubted me, because she reinstated the fact and reminded me of this idea that I doubt myself. And I hated it because I wanted her support, because at least then it would help me believe in myself more. That's kind of usually how I was wired, right? So I hated the fact that She said, "Oh, impossible. You're not gonna do it." I hated it with all my heart, and I was so angry. And I said, "I will never speak to you again. I will make sure you eat those words." So I cut ties with my family. Didn't say them, didn't see them, didn't say anything to them. I didn't care until one day, my father, no, my brother, um, he kind of had like a first birthday for his son, and he invited all the family, and he wanted me there, and I was there. And so everyone saw me then, after the growth I've experienced, after everything. And now they're like, "Oh, congratulations, this, oh, what's up, Mr. Big Shot, Mr. Big Shot, this." And I'm just there, and I just laugh. I laugh because my ego is having its fun, obviously, right? That's the arrogance and the cocky side of me, my ego. My ego is like, huh, way to give me my flowers now. Yeah, I am better than you. And what? Obviously, right? But there's a humble side of me, which is nothing, none of this matters. It's not that serious. Oh my gosh, you're nobody. You're just a speck on this planet. Stop being so self-centered. It's not just all about you. And so I see both polarities, trust me. At the time, I was very egotistical, self-centered, and I was just like, yeah, screw you. Yeah, I did that. Yeah. Yeah, you remember those words? Yeah. Thanks for the congratulations now. Yeah, screw yourself. You know what I mean? But all in all, to say I've cut ties with my family is because I don't want to be around small minded people. Even my mother was small minded until I showed her that I was able to do stuff. Until I was able to show her that I made what she made in a year in a week. And I showed her numbers. And she said, "Wow, you're doing it." You know? No one believes until you show them proof, until you show them why they should believe in you, which is so sad. Like sometimes in this world, maybe we just need to start believing in people. Maybe we need to just stop taking the lack of belief we have in ourselves and extend that to other people. Instead of doing that, maybe we could just say, "No, you are going to do exactly what you're going to do." You know? Now, even my brother, right? And this isn't to throw shade on him publicly, but the truth is, he's always said that, "Hey, I've always believed in you, always been there for you." Well, yeah, he has. But even my blood brother, there'd be times where if you believed in me, then you wouldn't really be fearful of what could possibly go wrong. And so that would be the fear that's inside of him, which I don't blame, right? Everyone fears different things. I just got to a point where I didn't fear death, nor failure, nor being broke. I've been there. I've felt dead. I've been broke. I've failed. I've hit rock bottom. And I somehow climbed back up by the grace of something greater than me that picked me up by the freaking neck and said, "Walk, son. You're not done." My whole life, I've never been able to do anything by myself, man. Something greater than me has lifted me up. All that to say, I don't necessarily think that you need family. In my culture, it's almost forbidden to cut ties with family because they say family is all you have. Well, I disagree. Just because we are somehow related by blood does not mean that I owe anything to you, nor do you owe anything to me. Because the truth is, if you're only loyal to me because you feel like you're obligated to me because we have some type of matching DNA that runs through our bloodstream, I mean, whatever the science is behind it, look, I will free you of that burden. You are not obligated to do anything for me. You are no one to me. I don't know you. You don't know me. I don't know your life. You don't know my life. I don't care to know your life. You don't care to know my life. We aren't even friends. I can't even call you an acquaintance. You just happen to be a familiar face, and I know a name. I can attach a name to that face. And we may have had some memories as children together. That's it. I don't see the importance of family. Perhaps because the thing that I find most important is not letting down whatever didn't let me give up. I call it God. I don't know what else to call it. I just know it's there. And I don't say it because I grew up religious. I grew up an atheist. I didn't believe in this thing that we called God, this omniscient and omnipotent force that dwells amongst us that has preordained the fate of every living organism? I don't know. All I know is I call it God, and it was the reason why I didn't fail. And all I know was in the darkest moments, I did not have the strength to freaking pick myself back up. And something greater than me, something beyond me said, walk, boy, and picked me up straight from the neck and didn't let go of me. No family member did that. No one. That did. And so I owe everything to that. I lived for that. Whatever that thing wants me to do, I would do it. Whatever mission that thing wants me to accomplish and carry out, I will do it. I am completely obedient. I am completely loyal. And I give everything to just serve that thing right there. Like, hey, man, you do what you want with this. And I'll be damned if I got to go see family. Like, anytime I've seen them, it's just, I am reminded of why I cut ties with them in the first place. I don't want to be anything like any of them in any way, shape, or form. I'm good. No thanks. I see the eyes of judgment. I see the eyes of ridicule. No thanks. I don't know you. We are not family. And I just don't care. I don't care to go meet up with family and have them tell me things that I don't enjoy hearing, because then I have to check them and it's going to sound disrespectful. And so I choose to keep my mouth shut, and I don't enjoy keeping my mouth shut in moments like that. I don't want to go see my family. It's okay. And so the whole point of this video is why I cut ties with my family and why I don't really think it's that important. And I hopefully, after telling you all that, maybe you can get it. Maybe you understand. Maybe I am self-centered. Maybe I am just so full of myself. Maybe I am selfish. Oh well. If that's how I am, then I guess that's how I am, and that's the decision I've made. And so, to me, I've ended up okay. I don't know any of them. I don't care to know any of them. I don't keep tabs on any of them. I'm good. They can keep tabs on me though. That's cool. Yeah, you can watch. But I don't really care about you. And it's mainly because I place so much value and importance on just being so eternally grateful and indebted to the thing that truly saved me in the darkest moments. And it wasn't my mother, it wasn't my father, nor was it my blood brother. It wasn't encouraging words from anybody. It was something out here that just didn't let me fail, even though sometimes I would literally ask to fail. I would drink myself to the point of despair, and I would just be this couch potato ready to ruin my life, and it just would pick me out. Even if I didn't ask to be picked up, it would pick me up and say, wake up, I got something for you. I don't know. So if you are someone that is the black sheep, if you are someone that's different in the family, if you are that one person in the family that dreams big, that's different from everyone else, it's okay. You're not alone, me too. What matters is your future family one day. You're going to have a wife or a husband, a son or a daughter, or perhaps even both. That's what matters. And I'd say keep your immediate family close. Mother, father, brother, sister, if you have one. Screw the rest. Unless you truly have a bond with them. I'm just saying. I'm not speaking for all my family is everything people. Family are the only ones you have. You selfish, but I'm not speaking to you. You won't get the message anyway. I'm speaking to the ones that are possibly similar to me in some way, shape, or form, that just don't give a damn. Like, screw family. What? For what? You aren't loyal to me. Get out of here. You wouldn't die for me. You wouldn't lend me money if I needed help. You wouldn't be there to rescue me. You wouldn't help me. You wouldn't. Go away. Right? It's okay. Is it selfish? Possibly. But we make our own choices in life. You have to accept the payoff or the trade-offs, you know. You can either be with family and be surrounded by people you don't want to be like in any way, shape, or form, or you could just be exactly who you want to be, authentically. There was a point where I wanted to do everything to impress my family, and it was weird because I was trying to do everything to impress the people that I wanted to be like in no way. I did not want to be like in any way, shape, or form, which is very strange to me. And so when I came to the acknowledgement of that, I said, well, I don't really care. I'm from this point on, I don't really care to impress any of you guys. You guys don't exist in my head. None of you guys exist. And I probably won't be there at your funeral because I just don't care. So why would I show up at your funeral if I don't care? If I don't care and I show up at your funeral, I would think I'm a fraud. But if I don't care and I don't show up to your funeral, I'd say I'm authentic. Very strange perspective, right? Very narrow and very hard, stubborn perspective, right? I get it. That's how I see it. That's the lens in which I see the world. And everyone sees the world through a different lens, and it's okay, right? But I've been there. I've been with the victim mentality. I've been with the, oh, it's not my fault. My life is screwed up because of X, Y, and Z. And I am here to tell you that you only do best when you can regain power, and you can regain power by saying it's completely my fault, and I am responsible. And so let me take the first steps now to change my life. And in doing so, my family members will just naturally just see everything I've done. And so if you live with this deep desire to prove people wrong, eventually you grow out of it. Trust me, I did. You will too. And it's mainly because you start detaching and you realize, why am I trying to impress the people that I don't want to be similar, like in any way, shape, or form? Like, what is wrong with me? I'm doing all this for you? You. My auntie? My cousin? My brother? My father? Like, I'm doing all this for you? You know? And I necessarily don't even do things for me. I just do things that feel right, and I do things, hopefully, because whatever's beyond me is telling me to do it and say it, which is sometimes really raw, and it's not really the easiest thing to say or hear. I get it. You know, my message is really raw, and I've been trying my best to just give it like it is, raw. No holding back. I will tell you how it is. And I believe that's the way where you can grow. That is the best way to grow. One of the best, not the only way, but it's one of the best ways to grow. It's just a raw truth that you don't hide from, that you don't try to disguise, that you don't try to make up for. You just tell it like it is. And so now I have zero desire to link up with my family. The other day, my brother called me and said, hey, you know, grandma might be half brain dead and she's probably going to die soon. And I said, yeah, I just don't care. A lot of you guys are going to be like, wow, you're truly selfish. You need God. Okay, probably. I don't care because it's not important to me. It's hard to make me feel something for someone that isn't really important to me, nor do I have a bond with or a direct relationship that's memorable with. I don't have any memories with my grandmother. I don't have a bond with my grandmother. And plus, I don't fear death, and I don't think death is sad. Everyone in my family is so boo-hoo about death. Like, get over it. Oh my gosh, you're so soft. In 100 years, you're gonna die, so am I, so are all your kids, everybody. Like, get over it. Stop being so soft. Wanting to cling on and hold on to this life of ours. Like, you're gonna die. This life is meant to be lived one way, and that's forward, not backwards or stuck in the past by any means. So, hey, move forward and just accept death and maybe make the logical decision, not emotional decision, right? Which is something that I don't see done a lot in the family. And sometimes I really wish I could slap some people in the head, like, hey, you knucklehead. Just do this. It's the worst that can happen, right? Either way, that's why I cut ties with my family. If you are also someone that's the black sheep and cut ties with your family, and you're on the path of trying to do something magnificent and great with your life, hey, you will make it happen. And eventually they're going to look at you and to say how great you are, but they'll never see the years of agony, heartache, where you almost wanted to give up, and moments where you did give up and you just wish that you would rather be dead than be alive. They'll never know any of those moments. They'll never know about the moments where you would be in your bed wondering if you were going to make it. They'll never know about those late nights where you would drop on your knees, tears falling down your eyes, the pain, and it's so deep. It strips away at every ounce of hope and meaning that you have, and so you become this empty, dead vessel of nothingness. And they'll never get it, and they'll never see those nights. But they'll eventually just see how great you get, and they'll say, "Oh wow, that's my cousin." It's okay if you're the black sheep. It's okay if you're the one that's misunderstood. It's okay if you're the one that's different. It's okay if you're the ones if you're one of the ones that had the balls to do things that no one else would do. Because people judge because they wouldn't do it. And so you know what the best response is? If you do something and a family member says, I would never be like you, I would never want to think like you, I would never want to be anything like you, all you have to do is say, don't worry, you can't. And it will piss them off. And hey, there is your moment of I got you. There's your I got you moment. So keep that in mind. Anytime someone says, wow, I never want to be like you, you're so this, you're so that, I never want to be anything like you, just say, don't worry, you can't. No, trust me, you will never be like me. You can never be like this. Trust me, right? You take it, you accept it. You agree with them, accept it, and you one-up them. They say, it's not that you don't want to be, you physically cannot. It's impossible. Not like me, at least. Not this, right? Yes, it's cocky, yes, it's arrogant. Hey, I think there's moments where you have to light that fire to push you forward just a little bit and then retract and ground yourself in humility, right? But that right there is healthy in dosages because it propels, but it's unhealthy in large amounts because then it absorbs. It doesn't propel, it absorbs your being, right? Black sheeps out there, good luck. People that have cut ties with their family, good choice. Now, if it's not the best choice, then maybe go back to your family. But hey, if you think you made a good choice, then hey, keep doing whatever the heck it is that you're doing. You will succeed eventually. And success is completely defined subjectively by you. I cannot define what success is. I only know what success is to me. I define success as progressing towards the main goal. I define success to me as being okay with everything, being okay with nothing, being okay dead, being okay alive, being okay if anything goes wrong, being okay if everything goes right. Complete acceptance of anything that is and will be, and that to me is success. A heartbeat to me is success. And so you have to define it, and it's subjective. I can't help you with the definition. That's why I cut ties with my family. To all my one percenters out there, you're not alone. And sometimes I hope that these videos make you feel less alone, because I know at moments where I was at my lowest, I had some people that made me feel less alone, and it was the one thing that I needed. So I hope that I was able to help you feel less alone. I'll see you on the next one.